What if you could just escape? No more alarms that decide when your life starts. No more trudging through the day hoping it will end. Imagine you can just be in a different place. With a few words, a simple prompt, you can build it. All you need to do is ask.
Now that's wild, right? All of the shots you just saw were all made using AI inside of Higgsfield. And they've launched several new AI tools that will help you make cinematic shots. If you want to master AI filmmaking, then I would highly recommend checking them out. I will leave a link to Higgsfield in the description down below. But it's not just the tools that make you a good AI filmmaker, it's about how you use them. So that's why in this video I'll be revealing 5 things that you need to master in order to become a good AI filmmaker. And don't worry, I will document everything that I've said in this video, and I will leave this link in my free school community. So if you want to check it out at your own pace, then click the link in the description down below and join my free school. The first important aspect is learning how to prompt. So for this, we're using this custom GPT. Again, I will leave the link to this in my community. It's specifically trained for helping you come up with creative ideas and also writing cinematic prompts for you. And that is where most people struggle because, for example, you have an idea and you just put it into an image generator. Let's go with this idea. An image of a person in a futuristic city that mixes out of this world tech with nature, realistic cinematic prompt. Now you might be thinking to yourself, this will get you a good result, but it got me this. This result is not too bad, but if you want to make it even better, you gotta add in more details. And if you don't know how to write these details, then you can use this prompt bot. So for example, I got this prompt bot over here. So what I did right here is I said, help me with this idea. Then I put in my original prompt. Then it came up with 8 different ideas that I could choose from. So for example, we have a sky garden at street level, elevated walkway over a living city, an abandoned tech reclaimed by nature, like all of these different ideas. The main one that I liked was the last idea, so I go with transit hub of the future. Then I ask it to write prompts for me. Now it comes up with 4 different shots that we can use in our prompts. The great thing about this is you can literally just copy this prompt and it has already added in details based on your concept. So now we've gone from our somewhat vague idea to a more specific scene, and then it wrote different prompts for that scene. Now then we take this prompt and we go over to Higgsfield, and instead of using normal Nana Banana for this, we're going to be using Cinema Studio. And the reason for this is because this GPT has been customly written for Cinema Studio, because it gives you more control over the output and it gives you cinematic looking results. So we're pasting in our prompt right here. Then we go over to these camera settings. As you can see right here, I have added in this recommendation. So it recommends us the Sony Venice and the Higgsfield light lens. Then we want to be using 14mm for the first shot, and for the other shots you want to be using 35mm. It also explains why it's using these kind of lenses and these kind of cameras, so that gives you a bit more context as to why we're using this. After you've selected your settings, then you can click on generate, and now you get a result like this. As you can see, this is much more detailed. We went from our vague concept to a more cinematic approach with a different outcome. So if we put them side by side, then you can see if you just put a futuristic city with a person in it, you get a basic generation. But if you now add in the details, and if you don't know how to do it, then you use this ChatGPT, then you get a way more detailed approach. Now you could also do this yourself, but this custom GPT also helps you with what lens to choose, and it might give you different ideas that you haven't thought about. That's what it is trained for. Next up, you want to master consistency. You want to have consistency in every shot, but knowing how to do this used to take time and also a lot of skills in order to know what type of angle you need to prompt to get your specific result. One of my favorite features that will help you with this consistency is called multi-shot. So if we click on open in and then we go to multi-shot, after uploading your image, it gives you 9 different angles of your reference image. Honestly, it looks quite good. This used to take a lot of time because you had to prompt each time inside of Nana Banana, but now you have 9 different angles without having to prompt it. So this is how you create consistency in every shot. Let's make it a little bit more complicated. Now I have this reference image of me. I give it this prompt and out comes this image. There we have me as a knight. Now I want to have the same level of consistency in every shot. Now I just repeat this process and out comes 9 different images that I can then upscale. And here we have super high quality images that I can use for my video generation. I've done the same with this image, created 9 different angles, and also this image. And all of them looked super cool, and I use this all the time when I'm storyboarding for any cinematic video, because it comes up with angles that you might not even have thought about. Besides consistency, the next important skill that you need to master is character realism. Any type of character you put into the AI, you want to make it as realistic as possible. But the question is, how do you do that? Let me explain it to you. We've basically reached the level where AI is that good that we have to prompt it for imperfections. So for example, take a look at my face. Let's zoom in a little bit. I'm sorry for that. As you see, I have a few things going on that are details that make my face my face. For example, I have the mustache going on. I have a bit of a stubble beard, like it looks like I haven't shaved in a few days. And I also have some freckles. Now, you want to make sure that the AI adds that in there. But how do we do this correctly? Let me show you. First, you want to go over to Image, Create Image, and that brings you over to this prompt box. Then you go over to Nano Banana Pro. This is my favorite tool that I use all the time, or I'm using the Cinema Studio. So then you want to upload a reference image of your character. In this case, I'm using myself as the reference. Then you can just keep it as simple as possible by just describing your prompt. But let me show you what will happen if you just keep it simple. So for example, here I'm going with the prompt, me in the world of Stranger Things going to fight monsters with a baseball bat. Super simple prompt, nothing complicated. And if I make this in 21:9 and I upscale this to 4K, then I get a result like this. Because we're using a high reference image of me with details of my skin, this image already looks quite good. Let's zoom in a little bit in our next image. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna click on reference. So now we will be using this image as a reference. And now we're gonna say a different prompt. Tight close-up of a young man's face, serious expression, pale skin with natural pores. So we're describing what's going on my skin. And this is the thing that you should do if you want to make it look realistic. Now we click generate and this is the following result. As you see, this looks even more like me. We have these slightly bags underneath my eyes. If we even zoom in further, then we can notice that there are little pores, hairs, and like little dots on my nose, on my skin. It looks way more realistic than the previous image. And just adding in these tiny little details will matter a lot in the outcome of your images. Now I did the same process also in Cinema Studio, but this time I didn't add any context and it gave me this result. Cinema Studio is trained to make realistic cinematic shots of your character. So I would suggest trying this with both Nano Banana and also Cinema Studio. The next skill you need to understand and master are camera movements. Choosing the wrong camera movement can completely fuck up your entire video. But there are just so many different camera movements that you can choose from, and you might not even know how to prompt and get these camera movements yourself. So let me explain to you what these camera movements are, what my favorite ones are, and how you can easily replicate these camera movements in your AI videos. So the great thing about Higgsfield is that if you go to Cinema Studio and you switch over to video, then you already have all of these camera movements that you can choose from. So you no longer need to prompt it. It is like a pre-prompt that has been done for you. So you can now like easily choose between those. Let me showcase a few camera movements that I really like. The first one is dolly in. This is where the camera is slowly moving closer towards the subject. This is great for building tension to your character. Next, we got jib up. So this is where the camera is lifting upwards, almost like it's revealing something. This will be great for when you have cinematic shots where you want to reveal a wide landscape. And then we have orbit around. Now this is where the camera is circling around a subject, adding in motion and energy while still keeping the character in the center frame. This is great if you add in a bit of editing where you speed it up or slow it down at certain parts, because it creates a cool movement around your subject. Then we have camera follows or a tracking shot. This is where the camera is following the person and it's moving with the person as he's walking forward or backwards in this case. The last one is tilt up, and this is where the camera is angling upwards and it makes it feel like the subject is more powerful. Don't you think like my kung fu over here looks a bit more convincing than in the other scenes? Like that's at least the feeling I got from it. The last skill that you need to master is first and last frame. The reason for this is because it gives you so much creativity and so much control over the outcome of your video. For example, I have this image image of a bowl of ramen, and I want to have me approach that bowl of ramen and start eating it. I cannot just do that with just a first frame. I can try, but it won't give you the results that I am hoping for. So I generated another frame, which is called the last frame, where you have me eating the bowl of ramen. Now what I can do now is I can upload my image over here as the start frame, and then I upload the other image as an end frame. The only thing I need to do is I need to glue it together with a prompt. So I'm just gonna prompt it. I walk in, sit down, pick up the chopsticks and start eating. I basically describe what I'm doing in a simplified way. And then after generating it, it gives me this result. So I walk in, I grab the chopsticks, I sit down, and then I start eating. Pretty good, right? Now here's another example of where I'm using this in my shots. Here I have me looking in the mirror as a first frame, and then I want the second frame to be slightly zoomed up and me brushing my teeth. So basically what I did is I used a bit of Nano Banana, and then I created these two shots, and now I can animate them using Kling AI, and that gives me this result. If you're just using a start frame to make a video and it doesn't work out, you might want to consider using start and end frame, because then you have more control over the outcome. Make sure that the character is consistent in every image if that is your goal, otherwise the output will fail. Now most of the features I've just shown you were only available in Higgsfield, and if you're serious about AI filmmaking, then I would recommend checking them out. I will leave a link to them in the description down below. If you're wondering what plan might be the best one for you, if you're just getting started and you want to look around, go with the basic or the pro plan. That should give you plenty of credits to explore, but if you're serious about it, then the ultimate plan is a really good deal. Personally, I'm using the creator plan because I'm just spending way too much credits on every AI generation, and if you're a heavy user, the creator plan only makes sense. If you want to learn more about cinematic AI ads, then click the video that's on the screen right now, where I will walk you through how to use Higgsfield to make your own cinematic ad.